What's up, my fellow enthusiasts? This is my first coaster review. I'm going to be giving a review on Orion at Kings Island, a B&M Giga coaster that opened in 2020. Um, I think it's the most underrated coaster ever constructed, and I'm going to give you a quick review on this. So the first thing you're going to notice is looks very similar to Diamondback. Same company, same train design. It's actually a lot taller than it looks because it's in the very back of the park over by Flight of Fear. Um, when I was a kid living in Cincinnati and I went to Cedar Point, I'd always wanted something like Millennium Force when I was a kid, and I would have died to get anything close to it. And I finally got it with Diamondback in 2009, and that was super exciting. But as time went on, I really wished for something around that 300-foot mark. And I remember days when I was on the Eiffel Tower, just looking over the edge, just wishing for a coaster with a drop from that height. And when I finally got it, it was just so exciting. And I know some people wanted it taller, faster, and longer, but I didn't care because I understand how hard it is to come by a coaster of this type of magnitude, and I know that it's not a given. And I just realized that I'm just forever grateful to have it. Um, 30 minutes for me instead of having to go to Cedar Point or go somewhere else to ride something like this. So I'm gonna give a review on how the ride starts. So you're gonna enter the new themed area called Area 72. Um, it was formerly X Base, but now they completely rethemed it for 2020. It's nicely themed, not Universal or Disney level, but nicely themed compared to other Cedar Fair coasters. Um, when you're going up the lift hill, it's a little bit lower elevation. So even though it's 287 feet, it doesn't feel really that tall. But when you get over the top of that hill and go over that drop, this drop is tied for fury as my favorite drop on any coaster because it feels like you're diving t- straight into the ground. You're out of your seat the entire way down. It feels a lot stronger of a drop than the Millennium Force does because you're so much higher elevated off the track and you're more exposed and you're out of your seat the entire way down. The only other ride that gives me that type of sensation is Fury. It feels identical to Fury. Um, it's probably my favorite, tied for my favorite coaster moment ever. So you're going to enter a 174-foot wave turn. Um, this element is kind of hit or miss. I do enjoy the views from it, and you're kind of hanging sideways and you're so high off the ground. I think they were going for more of an RMC type thing, but it just didn't hit the same. The most underrated moment of this ride is the turnaround. This turnaround is supposed to be over 200 feet, and it doesn't look like it from the ground because it's so far in lower elevation. But when you go up that turn and you tip over to the side, it that's when it hits you that this damn thing's over 200 feet high. And I remember my first ride in 2020 when I went over that turn, and I just kind of looked down and I just thought, oh my goodness. And so I held on to that clamshell as hard as I could. And then the second best moment of the ride comes after that, and that is this speed hill, one of the greatest coaster elements I've ever experienced. It is pure bliss. You're out of your seat the entire time. And I know a lot of people prefer Diamondback, but and even though Orion might not have, as many elements, the ones that it does have just hit so much harder than anything on Diamondback. Um, and you're gonna follow. What follows is another airtime hill. This one around the 150-foot range, and again, this hill I really enjoy it. You come right out of your seat. And then the only element that I would have done differently is the helix. I don't think the helix does a lot. Um, just sometimes you might gray out on it, but it just doesn't do much for me. That'd be the one element I would change. And then what a lot of people think is the best moment of the ride, and I wouldn't say it was the little um, sideways hill right before the station, and it is very powerful. You come out of your seat, and then you hit the final brake run, and overall, I would give Orion a 9 out of 10. It's been great having it, even though it's not as good as Fury. I think it gets a lot of hate, and I just don't understand it. I think people need to really understand this, man. This is a $30 million coaster, and coasters like this just don't happen often. And, you know, would I have liked it to be closer to Fury? Yeah, but it has Fury's first drop, and in the bottom of that first hill still melts my face the same way Fury does. So, in this day and age where parks are closing, some parks haven't gotten anything in 20 years, I couldn't be happier to have Orion at my home park. Sometimes I forget about, what the next coaster could be at Kings Island, because Orion was kind of what I've really wanted for so many years. Um, and the only thing that would kind of, take my attention away from Orion is an RMC or a Giga Dive or a launch like Alpine Fury at Canada's Wonderland. Um, anyway, thanks for listening to my spiel. This is my first review. Critique me, and if you want to see more, just subscribe to my channel.